battery in a little while ago, right? But I didn't know that it was going to interrupt me because a phone call came in.
Yeah, yeah,
I think if
uh,
I would have put it in airplane mode, I probably wouldn't be able to talk to you, right?
yeah. I don't know. Uh yeah. I should probably make like a list of things that could happen.
Yeah, I've never used the Riverside app. I've never on any of the other streaming apps. I've never had a phone call interrupted. But
Uh,
no, man, I'm grateful to be on here today, and I really love that you are talking to people. I've watched a lot of your podcasts, lost a lot of your little blind reveals, your blind listening things, and it's cool to see somebody listen to something they've never heard before, and maybe even in a genre that they're not familiar with. You know what I mean? Uh,
yeah, the,
and it's cool also to have do podcasts that are more of a conversation because some of them that I do, they've got like 50 questions like ready. Now I know I have a long storied past that a lot of people want to pry into, and I'm like, well, listen to my albums if you want to really get deep into them, and nothing's off limits. And some people think that they don't want, they're afraid to ask me about the prison or the other life. Like, man, y'all can ask me anything you want, and it's also cool just to have a conversation. You know what I'm saying? Two
yeah,
people just talking about music.
yeah. And I'll watch other podcasts, and it's you know what I mean. Like I don't want to like people. They can find it somewhere else. You know what I mean? Like answering the same questions over and over again gets like tiring. I feel like so it's just like if it comes up, it comes up. But I liked it more like a conversation because you get to learn a lot, and it's cool how you know now we know who the first CD you got sent in.
Right.
Like that's cool.
Yeah, some things, yeah, because nobody else knows that. John Forwright knows it. Now you guys know it,
Yeah,
right? Which is cool. The CD thing was really cool. Now I didn't break a lot of rules when I was locked up, but we had a rule. There was a rule that you can only have 20 CDs, and I told the administration I'm not going to break any other rules, but I'm going to have more than 20 CDs because I'm a music addict. So I would pay my buddies 2 or 3 soups a week to keep 50 CDs over at their house. And like, so I'm literally hiding CDs like they're drugs in other people's houses. Cause when they come to your house, if they search it and you got more than 20 CDs, you don't get to pick which 20 you keep. They just start taking stuff until you get down to 20 and they give you a ticket. So, while other guys may have been hiding spice and whatever other drug of the week was there, I'm hiding CDs at other people's houses.
that's
And
your
we had
comp.
these cheap little Sony CD players that, man, that I would go through just packs and packs of batteries and the things and power supplies and CD motors because you're listening to stuff. And then I think my last 2.5 years there, they gave us all tablets and you could download music on the tablet for at a ridiculous rate. It was like $3 a song.
Uh,
Like somebody in that world, I had music on there whenever I went in that people were downloading and buying for $3 a song. I personally have never seen a red cent for it, right? So I can only imagine all the people that are downloading. The popular theme was clearly hip hop music and metal, and like I wonder if those people are getting paid. I don't know. It's a weird deal. I actually tried to figure that out when I got out. Like, who's making this money? Because they made a lot of money off of phone calls and
yeah,
commissary, and now they're letting people download and buy other people's songs on these tablets, and you can't take the tablet with you when you go home, and they make it like a complete pain in the ass to give you the songs you've purchased. And I won't even get started about that racket, but the tablets were great because I had an intranet, a closed loop thing of all the songs I could possibly think of downloading, rather than going through the process of trying to find an approved vendor to send a CD in. And it was a big deal just to get a CD in the mail. They didn't
yeah,
just send it to you. They had to search it and go down to property, make sure that it was on the list or was on not on the blacklist, and it was a hell of a deal. So those first few CDs that I had sent in there were still very important to me, and they're still somewhere. I don't bring any CDs home with me because I wanted to leave all that, and I had amassed several hundred CDs, while I was in there.
so they had a blacklist of what you couldn't listen to.
Oh yeah, yeah, yes, yeah. There was like you're not going to get the you're not going to get the dirty version of Tupac's greatest hits in there. You
Uh,
know, you're not going to some of it. You're probably not going to get a Wheeler Walker Jr. album in there. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. You know, so there was a little bit of low key censorship when it came to that, which is crazy because you got people in there that are doing the rest of their life in there, and you can tell them, oh, we think this is too violent or controversial for you to listen to. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It was a very strange dynamic. You know.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Especially because First Amendment protects you from the government from restricting.
Well, I think when you're locked up, there's not
Yeah,
too many rights that you can do anything about, you know, because you're in a closed place where even if you sent a letter out or called somebody and said X, Y, or Z is going on, like it's all going to be hushed. There's a lot of window dressing in the Arizona state prisons. There's a lot of programming, but it it sounds cool in theory, but the people that are teaching it, they don't care. So in my opinion, there's not a lot of comprehensive programming that breeds positive change. I would argue that the music program that I was a part of in there, I taught over 500 guys how to play some type of instrument and write songs and things. And those guys all stayed out of trouble when they were in that program because they knew that if they got in trouble, well, they couldn't come pick up a guitar when it was their rec time and go set out next to the basketball field and write songs all day or have access to the band room. But they let us have concerts out on the prison yard once a month, drag a PA out there, old electric Alesis Nitro Mesh drum kit. And like we had a death metal band, we had rock and roll bands, country bands, Spanish bands. I learned Spanish when I was locked up, and so I used to sing in the Spanish church band, and I used to play guitar for the Spanish prison band that was there. In that kind of a Spanish style, which is a little bit different. The chord voicings and the shapes are all a little bit different, but it follows like one strict format. And like if you dive into those corridos and the traditional Spanish stuff, if you got a good singer, that singer will lead you. You don't even have to have the song in front of you. You don't have to ever hear it because these singers lead you. You know, they're just playing on 1 4 5, and you can hear which ones it's going to, and all those traditional things. But it was cool that they did. I'm grateful they let us to play music out on the yard, and I watched it change people from the inside out, man, including myself. You know, I played before I went to prison, but I know guys in that program that have gotten out that are still doing fantastic because they're still playing music. They have a creative outlet and looking. They finally found the voice they were looking for their entire life. You know.
yeah.
So,
That's great to hear that you know that music can help people from man. That's a pretty. It's not a place you want to be, but it's great to find an escape and then to have something a skill set that takes you out of there because it's very easy to get caught up in the system. It's
oh
a
yeah.
it's so many little things that can jam you up. It's unbelievable of what they put good people, you know. It's amazing of just how it's almost abuse. It's like you become a paycheck, or you just. I've seen so many people just get jammed up when they're like, "Oh, you have a weapon in your house." Well, I bow hunt. It's I bow hunt, and nope,
Look,
you're going back.
there there are a lot of people in prison that are completely innocent. I promise you that. There's a
Yeah,
lot of people a lot of people that have just been in 2 or 3 times and they got charged with something they didn't do, and then they leave them in county jail for a year. And county jail out here is a tragedy in Maricopa County. And they break you. You're sitting in that county jail for a year. You're probably going to sign a plea if it means you can get to a prison yard where you can actually live a little bit, rather than the county jail model. So, I mean, our correctional system is broken, and there's a lot of guys in there are innocent. There's a lot of guys in there that have that victim mentality. They're like, well, oh, Johnny narked on me. He snitched on me. That's why I'm here. I'm like, no, man, we have to take accountability of our own mistakes in our life. We have to address those, and we have to own them 100%. If we can't do that, that's a first step in growing at anything. Whether you've been a criminal your whole life or what it is, we have to admit our own mistakes, and we have to own those and quit blaming all of our failures on other people. And I think when I saw guys finally get that, I saw them start growing. But until they got that, it doesn't matter until people can kind of admit that, all right, this was me all along, look in the mirror type thing. It was crazy to see it on the grand scale though, because you got to imagine, living in a room with 70 other guys in a dorm. So there's no cells in the latter part of my sentence. You're dealing with 60 or 70 personalities every single day, sharing three sinks, three showers, two urinals, and two toilets with 70 guys. You get to see a lot. And as a songwriter, always trying to absorb that stuff, I have notebooks full of stuff that I would just observe, and a lot of songs have come from that. So not every song I write is about things that have happened to me. A lot of it is about things that I've observed. Whether that's at McDonald's this morning getting a biscuit, or doing all that time in prison. The songs are out there, the stories are out there. You just have to open your eye up and kind of capture it. In my opinion.
Yeah, go out and find them.
Yeah, they're there. Just open your eyes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. Music's everywhere, and I always love like I can't remember what band, but they wrote a riff based off of their windshield wipers. Like,
Hell yeah.
like just when you really, it's kind of like man, I can't remember his name. Is a comedian, Mitch Hedberg. Like when you really think of when you overthink and think of stuff, it's just there's so much simple, complex stuff out there, and I love when just hearing how people find sounds and like especially in like the studio or you hear like the shaker burg so they use the sweet and low packet and it's you don't need big fancy. I mean, granted, as guitar players we tell ourselves we need that extra guitar,
Right.
but you could probably survive with two of them, but you know what I mean. And
For sure.
yeah, and they don't have to be $5,000 zebra exotic wood. The bare
No.
bone. I always tell people because a lot of people their stuff's never good enough for like them, and I'm just like,
Mhm.
man, the talent will shine through. Like I really believe that because like when you listen to like Metallica's first album, the vocals, that's
Right.
he had laryngitis.
Right.
They're not
Right.
good, but they're
Right.
fantastic songs. You
Right.
go you go see them live and they will blow you out of the water. But could you imagine if he was like, "Oh, my voice wasn't good enough for this album," and if they just hoarded gold, there's
Right. Well, I think a lot of things. Even studio. I have been around folks that will go into the studio and, man, they pick apart every single thing and they want it perfect. And there is beauty in the imperfection of making an album, in my opinion. You know, i- it's insane. Talking about a Metallica. Can you imagine if Metallica said, "You know what? We're going to wait a little bit. We're going to polish this thing up really nice." It would have never have hit as hard. Now, clearly, that was just a part of their natural progression. Because you look like, shortly thereafter, when Ride the Lightning and Kill 'Em All, and then they come out with, in my opinion, my favorite Metallica album is Master of Puppets. Followed a close second behind would be the Injustice for All album, to where like everything finally for the first time clicked in the studio, guitar tones, everything just came together. And like I get goosebumps right now just talking about those old albums, because when I hear those old albums, it takes me back to the room I was in when I heard it, and I can smell things. Smell is weird. I pick up acoustic guitars and I always smell the inside of them, or I smell skateboards because it takes me back to the skater days. And there's some odors that like just recall things in your memory, just like listening to those old imperfect albums, like in anybody's genre. I mean, listen to Springsteen's Nebraska album, and talk about, oh, okay, we're going to polish this thing up. Good songs will stand the test of the time, no matter what genre they're in. Period. I still listen to a bunch of Tupac because that's back when hip hop was still storytelling, and I love storytellers, and it doesn't matter if they're doing it at 300 beats a minute to a death metal guitar, or if they're doing it to a hip hop beat in the background, or just some sad son of a bitch with an acoustic guitar. I like stories framed with music, and
yeah,
it's so cool that we can go back to those old albums and just feel things over and over. The imperfect albums.
yeah, dude, definitely. I Yeah, it's a really, like, like senior week. I can remember, like Deftones White Pony. I put that on. I think of like being at the beach, you know, and with a lot of my friends that were there. They're no longer here, so it's music is very cool of how it can connect memories of some things. And maybe you've heard the song 100 times, and the 101 time you'll remember something that you haven't remembered in forever. It's just weird how like sometimes it just the way how, at least with my how I'm wired, is every once in a while a song can like bring you back and you'd be like, oh my god, I totally forgot about that.
Yeah,
And
they do. You've got to listen to that Stephen Wilson Jr. song called "I'm a Song."
yeah,
It's basically it's summarizing our entire conversation about songs bringing you back to places. So listen to that song this evening when we get off of here. It'll encapsulate the entire thought process that we're exploring right now with where just a verse of a song can take you as far as emotionally or back in time. And to those nostalgic moments where that song may or may not have been played in the background. You know.
yeah,
I think that's why music's so powerful because it takes us places we don't have to ask it to. We don't have to pry for it. We don't have to look to it. It's just like this magical moment that occurs, that you can't force, and it only really occurs with songs that have touched us, And if you're listening to music honestly, I think you have no heart if no music has ever touched you. You haven't listened to any music. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And I'm not even speaking on genres, just music in general. I mean, there are still classical pieces that bring a tear to my eye when I listen to them that have no words. Just because there's so much emotion in them that bring me back to a different place. I only have three guitar lessons in my life. Two of them were nylon string classical lessons, and another one was by a guy named Brian Ballou out in Oklahoma City that was a shredder. And I had three in my life, and I said I'm just going to sit in my room and figure out how to play this stuff. And I tell like the younger generation will never know the struggle of rewrapping a tape or getting a piece of scotch tape to your on your tape player, your cassette, and putting that thing back together, or putting a piece of toilet paper in the top of it so you could record something over the top of it. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So I used to just sit back in my bedroom and rewind Slayer, Obituary, and Cannibal Corpse songs and Testament, and just figure it out note by note. Couldn't tell you what I was playing, but I could still play some of it to this day. You know what I mean? As far
yeah,
as theory wise, I couldn't tell you what I was doing, but now I know what I was doing. But before when I learned it, I had no clue.
yeah.
It
That's
was just it was just.
the first lesson I had. The guy gave me my money back. He said you'll never learn
You're
how to
not gonna
play.
make it, man.
I'm
Oh
like,
wow.
I'm a kid. This is my dream. You're not even
Oh, well,
taking my
he
money's not even
shut you
taking it.
down.
Yeah, and I didn't touch a guitar for a while, and yeah, it just had this neighbor. He would go on the nod and leave his alarm clock on. Beep, 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 beep. So I would put my guitar amp on the floor and just rub batteries on it. And I remember one day, man, he opened up his apartment door, came running upstairs, and I was like, "All right, finally, we're gonna fight." And I opened up the door, and he's like, "You want to learn how to play that thing?" And I was like, "Yeah, dude, please." And he ended up being a really cool guy, and he showed me drop D, and
Okay.
I was playing music within 3 minutes, and
Right.
he was actually really good. And man, it broke my heart when I said, "Man, you're really good. What kind of guitar do you have?" He goes, I don't have it. Pawned it." He goes, if I need the practice, I go to the music store and play." And
Well, that's great.
I'm like, man, but yeah, and I don't ever really remember seeing him again. But yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah,
Hey, he was there at the right time in your life.
yeah. Drop D.
I've lost so many guitars at the pawn shop over my entire life. It's been a long time since I have. Oh man, I think the one I lost that hurt me the most was it was like a '94 Jackson USA custom Ghost Flame V. It was like a
Oh,
$3,500 guitar. I
I was
think I
gonna.
pawned it for $400 to go buy a bunch of pills or something, and
Oh,
kept going back to try to get it and making excuses. And they gave me all the leniency they should. This was, way back in the day. This is in the mid '90s, but I'll never forget that specific guitar that I pawned for. thousands less. And plus, it was just a great guitar. Of course,
Yeah.
I've lost lots of things. I could write a whole song about all the stuff that I've pawned. I would probably need to write a whole damn album. I have my Percocets and pawn shops. It talks a little bit about what I pawned, but I could write a whole damn pawn shop album. I believe it. You know what I mean?
They well, at least now that they're in their forever homes.
Well, yeah, they are. They're some of them are still hanging on the wall, but I still frequent pawn shops as a shopper these days.
Yeah.
Haven't had to pawn anything in a while because hell, I never needed to pawn anything because I needed to pay my bills. I needed to pawn things to get high. Bills came secondary. You know what I mean? But pawn shops got good deals sometimes. You just walk in there like, wow, this is really cool, and you can negotiate with them pretty well too.
Yeah.
If you want $100, I give you $50. I know you ain't got 30 in it because I've pawned about 100 of these things in my life. I know what you gave me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And they can't fool you.
Yeah, I wanted to find a pawn shop in Mesa or someplace. I wanted to like record a music video at a time for Percocets and pawn shops. And I walked into three of them, and they're like, no, they were all upset about it. I wrote the song's gonna be in my new album called Diamond. It's about a stripper out in Oklahoma, and I am gonna make a live performance video in a strip joint somewhere. And hopefully, it's the Red Dog on 10th Street in Oklahoma City. That's kind of where the inspiration for the song came out. And I don't need there to be women in there. I just want like the whole vibe
The ambience.
of yeah, the ambience of just setting up with two or three cameras and a couple microphones and just doing a live version of a song about a stripper in the building that it was written about.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, it would be cool. And I would say that's a song I'm excited about recording just because I was fighting another song I was writing. I said, you know what? My wife's fake stripper name is Diamond, and all women have a fake stripper name. So it's like, I'm gonna write a song about a stripper. So like I'd knocked that song out over several weeks, and I didn't know how I was going to finish it. And I was asking people at shows. I was playing half of it and saying, "How does this song end?" And people gave me all their input, and I must have written five endings to that song. I finally settled on one about a month ago. So um, looking forward to recording that one. It's a little bit more upbeat. I don't know if I'd call it hopeful, but
That'd be interesting to hear.
yeah, yeah. Hey, I'm looking forward. I got some guys. You know who Jesse Aycock is?
Jesse Acock.
Guitar player, played for the Hardworking Americans.
No.
Okay, these are Tulsa cats. He's playing guitar on this album, and I've never met him. I'm very familiar with his body of work, and again, it's cool to walk into and make music with folks you've never met before. And Fulbright's going to play on the album as well.
Nice.
So looking and Patty Ryan on drums and Weinheimer on bass. So I think we got 5 days scheduled, September 15th, and I like to make my albums in 5 days. I like to walk away on day number five, and all that's left is mixing.
Nice. That's 5 days and done.
5 days and done. That's how my last one. My Pound of Rust album was made in 4 days,
Wow.
4 maybe 7 hour tracking days. My last album, Sergeant of Sorrow, made at the same studio with the same players. We got 5 days on that one, and then we have 4 days of tracking, and then one day of just kind of some cleanup work scheduled for this one. But yeah, because I don't ever multi-track myself. I don't. Everybody has a different way they make albums. Again, I said that at the onset, I sat on a bar stool with whatever mics the engineer wants to use, and I play these songs, and play them and sing at the same time. I don't want to record all the music and then come back and just do the vocals. I like singing and playing at the same time. 'Cause that's what I sound like live. So why shouldn't that be how I sound on an album? That's the way I feel about it, anyways.
Yeah. It definitely a more connective and more feel.
Yeah, I like the vibe. You got to have the vibe.
Yeah.
I'll even ask, hey, can you turn the lights down a little bit for this song? But hey, those last two albums I made, I'm very proud of those, and I love working with Dylan Aldridge is the engineer out at Skinny Elephant in Tennessee, and Nielsen Hubbard, man, he's just a great mind when it comes to propping up songs and not losing sight of like the nucleus of the song, but that still remains intact, and everything else plays a supportive role, and I love that about people that I find that can present songs. And I always say, people's like, why don't you just produce your own album? I was like, well, I value other people's opinions, and I think it's important also to gain to get outside perspective from people maybe that you admire in the industry and get their opinions on things. And you may not like their opinion, but I think it's great to get opinions whenever making an album. Just people, I see things. Or sometimes people can see things in me, and I can see things in other folks that they can't see in themselves, and then I can't see in myself because we're kind of limited to our own perspective, and the musical perspective is so broad that it's so great to explore that through other people's thought process.
Yeah, and people listen to music very differently too, which I find that topic fascinating because a lot of people,
I'm I'm a repeat listener. When I find a song I like, I listen to it 100 times before I ever listen to another song.
okay,
Yeah,
I've done that with some
yeah.
songs.
People binge watch Netflix. I binge listen to stuff all the time. I think in 2022, I know 23. My binge listen was Evan Bartles.
I know that name, yeah.
He had his our vinyl session was like all those songs were my top four streamed when you get a little Spotify rap thing at the year because I listened to those songs a ton. Last year, my most listened to song was uh oh god, what's the title? It's escaped me. A Pony Bradshaw song. Um well now the it's escaping me the name of it. It's on the Calico Jim album. Anyways, it was another binge listen that I still listen to this day.
Yeah. Mine mine ever since from doing it has been Austin Mead Cave In. I just
Okay.
I don't know why. I just love the song.
It's okay. That's the beauty about music. Like it doesn't have to make sense. It's a
Yeah.
feeling. It's a vibe. Put your AirPods in or however you listen to music and you get down. And there are other people that I'm hanging on every word when I'm listening to music. There are other people that consume music, listen to it a little bit differently. It's background. They could listen to it 200 times and they probably couldn't tell you a single word in it because it's not about the word for them. It's about the feel. And that's like the beauty of that broad spectrum of music and how people consume it and how they digest it. It's an amazing phenomenon. It really is to look how wide that really goes.
Yeah. And and when you do go to a concert and you know the song is super sad, but the music's really good. Like
Hmm.
Cody Jinks was telling me about his song David, and I got to see that twice this weekend. Of half the people are crying and half the people are dancing to the music with smiles on their face. I was like, yeah, just may not realize that it's got that cool beat, cool rhythm feel, and yeah, like because I've been trying to be like the lyric guy. They were trying to really listen to it first, but man, like I the music. I guess it's the musician in me. I always gravitate towards the guitar, and then the drums, and then the bass, and then the lyrics come. Unless it's like your stuff is very easy to get the lyrics first because there's not there's not a lot for me to be distracted from. I'm like, oh man,
Right,
listen to that guitar tone. But
right.
of course I love the riffs. But yeah, I'm trying because
Hey, the stuff I listen to, like if people they're dumbfounded when I tell them that all I used to listen to was death metal, and now like, what do you listen to? And I'll like send some of my metal friends the stuff I'm listening to, like, what happened to you? And then they'll listen to my stuff, they're like, what happened to you? Like this is what I like to listen to. If you saw my playlist, it ain't nothing but sad songs in it, man. There's hardly any instrumentation. I really like listening to people's live albums too. There's just another experience you get seeing somebody live that I think most studios are trying to capture that feeling, of a live concert. But there's just power in live music. I love listening to just live recorded stuff with a couple mistakes here and there, rather
yeah,
than listening to some super produced album that's full of auto tune and everything else. I'd rather hear a guy be a little bit flat here, a little bit sharp there. That way I know it's real. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's
oh
not a
yeah,
it's not a microwave TV dinner. Mama made this thing, and she may have put too much salt in it. And it's okay. There may not be enough in it. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
that's the way I like it anyways. So.
Yeah, dude, definitely. And a lot of times the live song is different than the album.
Of course.
And sometimes in a good way, sometimes not so good. But I love when like you can see the guys look at each other and they'll go a couple extra bars jamming.
Yeah.
And
That's the beauty of it.
yeah,
Only musicians understand that language. That like some people look at that and they're like, I can't believe you guys can just on a whim like make this song longer or shorter. Like we speak the language, we can do it with just a nod. People they've never played an instrument, they are it's magic to them. They went to a magic show in their mind,
yeah,
and sometimes those moments are never recreated, and that's why those live performances are even if it's recorded live, like there's just something about air moving across speakers and a crowd of other people, and there's all this energy, whether that's sad energy or happy energy. It's still energy that's come from stuff vibrating and rattling plastic and steel apart. You know what I
yeah,
mean? It's such a beautiful world we live in if we just open our eyes and look at it, right?
yeah. That's 100%. That's true. And yeah, like that's the one thing I did love, like seeing the heavier music. It's like the bass drum, like it'll change your heart rhythm just getting hit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
always love that. It's just like in your face, just bum, 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 bum.
Yeah, it's crazy. I told you earlier, I was at it was Slayer, Testament, and Pantera on one bill in Oklahoma at the state fairgrounds, and I was all hopped up on all kinds of stuff I won't even talk about. But that's back in the days where they still let you stage dive, right? There was no big deal. I got up there, and first couple times it was great. But the third time, these people just moved out of my way, and I landed right on my shoulder. So it gets worse, and I landed on my shoulder, and I broke my collarbone. At the same time I landed, my keys fell out of my pocket, and someone kicked him, and they went shooting across the floor. I'm in the middle of a mosh pit, mind you. So I'm insane. I'm just running around there throwing elbows and stuff. And maybe 20 minutes later, two or three songs later, I just happen to look down because somebody runs into me and my keys come flying across the floor. And I just step on them on accident, pick them back up and put them in my pocket. Drove home that night and went to the hospital the next morning, had a fractured collarbone. Those are the memories that music and bass drums give us,
Yeah,
They're so powerful that you don't even feel anything.
yeah. That's
It's
funny.
insanity. Yeah, it's out of control, but
Yeah. I can just in my head see you chasing your keys.
I wasn't chasing. They just kind of shot. I watched them leave me, and they came back to me as fast as they left me, and then I accidentally stepped on them.
That's wild.
In the middle of a mosh. And mosh pits are different these days. People are like throwing punches and kicking. You do
Yeah,
that, back in 1995, and you're going to get your ass whooped. As
yeah.
simple as that.
Oh,
Moshing was hardcore back then, but these days it's a little bit different. I mean, there's people swinging, throwing kicks and full blown punches and elbows, and they're aiming for the face. Back then, we were just getting aggressive out, ramming the shit out of each other.
yeah. Definitely,
So
definitely a huge difference.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm 50 years old and I have 8 grandkids, and I will not be getting any mosh pits anytime soon.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah. Me
mean?
either. I got close to one. I was like, what's that wind? And I looked back and there was a circle pit, and I was like the wall. I was like, I am out of here. Hell no.
Yeah, yeah.
You-
That's certainly the young man's game.
Yeah,
Hell, I got I've been so hard on my damn body. If I got in one, I'd break something at this point. I feel like
yeah,
too many skateboard wrecks or dirt bike wrecks or hell, I don't know what it was. Lots of wrecks, car wrecks, all of it.
yeah,
Just wrecks, right? Hey, there's my next song talking about all the wrecks I've been in,
yeah. Right.
right?
That's funny. But yeah, is there anything else you want to talk about? I know we've been doing this for a while.
Yeah, I didn't even pay attention to time. No, man, I'm just grateful to be on here. Thanks for having me on here. Thanks for listening to my song last year, and hopefully you listen to the new album. It'll be out early next year. I'll probably start releasing a couple singles in January, February, and then right before I head back over to Europe again. And keep doing your thing, man. And Talbot's cool. I've been dealing with him when I did the Texas to Tennessee podcast, and it's always great to get on and just have a conversation. Like we
Yeah,
just met in a bar room, and we're like, "Hey, man, my name's Jeremy. What's your name?" "Well, my name's XYZ," and we just start talking about about life. So I'm grateful for it, and This is where's this streaming at right now? TikTok and
Ye-
YouTube or
yeah, TikTok, Twitch, YouTube.
uh, yeah, TikTokers. If you're out there, I'm at I don't. I just changed my name to JD Graham. I was Sergeant of Sorrow on TikTok, so I'm under JD Graham now, and my website is thejDgraham.com, and Instagram is JD Graham. Okay, and I hope to see you guys at a show somewhere, and maybe we'll. I mean, if I don't see you before then, I'll see you in Mile Zero in January
Yeah, yeah,
for sure.
definitely. Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it, man. And I look forward to seeing some of your backing track jams.
I'll have to do some.
Yeah,
But
I've
yeah,
got some on my. I've been doing them on my. I've been home for like 2 months, taking a break off the highway. I've been at home shredding over backing tracks. Haven't recorded anything, but oh, it's been so fun. I'm
yeah.
playing through this old. It's a '59 panoramic. It looks like um, an old magnetone. This thing is from. Let me show you a picture of it, 1959. If I figure out how to turn this camera around, maybe I can't. Well, you see that thing?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's a 1959. It was just stuck in a guy's closet,
Wow.
made by Magnetone back in the day. I've got
I'll,
that, and then I just traded a guitar for one of the little head rush cores. I was never going to play this guitar. This guy's like, I got this head rush core thing. I was like, I'll trade it and try it out. Thing's actually got some pretty cool stuff on it.
yeah. I Headrush makes some nice stuff. I use some of their speakers and whatnot.
Oh, cool. But no, thanks for having me on, man. And if you ever need anything, you guys know how to get a hold of me.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate you
Of
taking
course.
the time.
Yep.
So, all right, man.
Cool. Well, we'll see you next time. We'll see you out there in the world or in the virtual world we live in, one or the other, right?
Yep. I'll be seeing you.
All right.
All right.
Later, man.
Later.